So the first step in creating our bus bars is to make a template out of paper. So I've got the cells bundles here, and I've taped a piece of printer paper to the top, and I just want to locate the distance between all of the terminal holes here, so I'll go over them with a pencil. Then I can cut those out and lay them on a piece of copper and drill them out. Okay, now we'll cut our first piece of bar stock for our first bus bar. I've already got it marked at 9 1/8. All right, I've got my first piece of copper cut for the bus bar. 9 1/8 inches long, and I've got my template taped on top of it. I marked the center of the bus bar on either end, and then just eyeballed it and centered the holes right on that mark, and then of course centered it this way as well. So yeah, I found the eye is a real good way to align things. I have a pretty good sense of level and square, and most of the time I can get close enough for government work, so that's what I do. Again, I'm going to eyeball a center punch here in preparation for drilling the holes. So I need to get right in the center of the hole marking on the template. And yeah, that looks good to me. Okay, now I'm going to use my handy dandy solar powered drill press to drill this sucker out. So just a quick note here. On the first bus bar, I tried using a hand drill, and the drill wandered a lot, and the holes didn't line up with the holes in the battery pack. So I highly suggest using a drill press. That worked much better. The holes are nicely spaced, nicely centered. Happy with that. Okay, now I want to deburr these holes, because there is a little bit of copper sticking above the flat surface, especially on the back side of the hole, or the downside where the bit pushed through, and you can feel there's a nice little burr there. And I feel like what that's going to do is cause the bar to ride up a little bit on the terminal and not make real good contact. I want to make this surface as flat as I possibly can. So I'm going to try and deburr that until it feels smooth. Copper's pretty soft, so I think I can make some progress with my utility knife, and be really careful not to cut my other thumb up with it, of course. But that's another story for another time. So here we go. So that feels a little better. So now I have this nifty little copper pipe deburring tool. This is used for copper plumbing pipe. After you cut it, you run this around the inside of the pipe to take the burr off. And it actually works really well for any copper. I've used it before on other bus bars. So you just put it in the hole like this and run it around a few times, and it helps take that burr off and makes a nice chamfered edge there. And I can feel that is almost perfectly smooth. There is one little bit here still, and I may need to get some emery cloth just to take that last little bit off. But I want, oh no, there it goes. Yeah. Well, I'm going to emery cloth these anyway before I put them together, just to take off any oxidation. So, but that really worked well for taking that burr off. So I just used the utility knife and then this copper pipe deburring tool. I'll try and remember to put a link to this in the description of this YouTube video. Okay, now I'm going to do a test fitting and just see how close I got my holes to match up with the holes in the terminals. So far, eyeballing it, it looks pretty darn good, but let's get some screws in there and see how it fits. Oh, baby. Come here, you. Yeah, I think that's going to work real well. There's still a little bit of play in there, which I like. Okay, very nice. Very, very nice. Okay, now I want to wrap the open areas between the holes, but I don't want, I want to make sure there's no wrapping between where the bar contacts the terminal and the terminal itself. That would make for a less than desirable electrical connection. So I had considered getting shrink wrap. That's what most people use for these bus bars. But then I found this 2-inch wide electrical tape on Amazon. And I think that's going to fit almost perfectly on the exposed parts of the bus bar. And this is easier to apply. So I think I'm going to go with this, or at least test run it and see how it works. So I think the first thing I'd like to do is mark exactly where the tops of the terminals end or correspond to on the bus bar, so that I can avoid wrapping any tape in areas where the bus bar contacts the top of the terminal. So I figure I'll do 2 wraps around the bus bar. So, gosh, I don't know. 4.5, 5 inches ought to do it. Let's say 5, which is right there. Okay, so that's 2 wraps. Almost 3. It's getting a little bit off there. Oh, well, I'll razor that. All right, that'll help cut down on any unwanted shorting of terminals, I think. finished.